So?
Why not? Okay.
Okay, cool.
You're on.
Make me cry.
Okay, we're on?
Mhm.
We're rolling?
And
Okay.
Do the intro.
Hey, everybody. David Barrett here for the podcast and YouTube channel called Movies, Music, and Moving Music, or Movie Music, like in movie soundtracks. So we're here with a special guest today. This is Eleanor, and she's originally from England, and she has been living in the SF Bay Area for quite some time now. And she's very knowledgeable in movies and music, and that's why, of course, we're having her as a guest today. Where do we start? I mean, first of all, when did you move from England to the Bay Area?
1991. Well, I was in Holland before. So I've lived England up until 89, then Holland through to 91, and after 91 here.
Well, the same year I moved from Florida to the San Francisco Bay Area, 1991. Wow, what a year!
So long ago.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about. Did you see any great concerts living in England and Holland? I mean, give the people those memories. You know.
Yeah. Well, I thought what it might be fun to talk about was the free festival scene. There was a scene that happened in England from the late 70s through to about 1990. And these were anarchist festivals, so there was no organisation for them. You didn't have to pay to go to them or anything. They kind of just happened. And there was a lot of good music at those festivals. The way it worked was every festival, they put up a notice board. And someone would usually put out one of these notice boards. And then if someone wanted to do another festival, they just put a notice on the notice board saying, you know, Ruth Inn Festival, these dates, this place. And it would slowly build up, and we would go to that. So one of the bands that I saw there, Here and Now, who are very well known on the festival scene.
Gong.
Well, they're related to Gong. David Allen played with them. When I saw them the first time, I was hoping to catch the tour with David Allen, the tour this album was recorded on. But unfortunately, they growled, and 2 gigs before the one I had the tickets for, Alan out of the show. And so when I came along, I was prepared to be totally disappointed because the person I'd really come to see wasn't there. And I was totally not disappointed. Here and Now, really good. And I saw them at several of the free festivals. And they had another thing they did that's worth mentioning, which is they had a light show. There was a venue in Bristol, I can't remember the name, so a disused church. And what they did was they went into the church and they hung white sheets over all the windows and they painted everything else white. And I mean everything, the floor, the ceiling, any furniture was in there, all totally white. And then in the middle of the space, they had a little scaffolding thing with 3 guys with projectors on it who toured with the band, and they would project a live light show, not just over the stage, over the entire audience, the venue, everything. And because they were touring with the band, they really knew the music, and so they could get their images synchronized to the rhythms in the music. And that was probably the highlight band of the free festival scene, was Here and Now. There were several other good bands, and there were people doing weird stuff as well. Like one festival I went to, what these people had done is they got a sheet of plastic that's about, I don't know, 8 feet wide by about 20 feet long, and just laid it out on the ground. These are outdoor camping events, these festivals. So they laid it out on the ground, and at one end they had like a television, and at the other end they had some meditation cushions, and a guy dressed up as a Swami meditating on the cushions. And so I asked, what the fuck is going on here? And they were doing a ritual to free people from the mind programming of television. So every night after the main stage at this festival shut down, this was actually the second Glastonbury festival, after the main stage shut down, they'd gather all the people around this thing, and they put those little candles, the tea lights, about 1 foot apart all the way around the edges of their sheet of plastic. and we'd all chant, rub-a-dub-dub, rub-a-dub-dub, smash the bourgeois TV. They had us all going like this. And then, during the day I'd come by and visit, and there'd be the Swami meditating, and beside him there'd be a washboard with a circuit board from the telly on it, and the Swami would explain that the telly knew it was in danger of being sacrificed, and he was trying to offer up this circuit board to save the rest of itself. But they didn't let it get away with that. On the third night, they sacrificed the television.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Well, thank you to the studio audience today for their feedback. Yeah, wow, continue. We got another record from Gong.
Yeah, this is like, it was originally an illegal album for copyright reasons.
Oh.
And that's why Steve Hillage's face is blanked out in the picture, because he was the person who had an exclusive deal with Virgin and was supposed to be on it. But Gong was a very influential band for me. I never really saw them as such, but I loved their music for a long time. They had a very theatrical scene going. And yeah, like, he's called David Allen Barrett, and the guy who put Gong together is called David Allen. And like, this man is a theatre sort of guy. Gong was a very theatrical music. This album is from a concert in 1977 in Paris, which was actually a reunion gig. Gong et mort, vive Gong.
And they're from England?
They're mixed from England and France.
Okay.
And at the end of their show, their music tells a story. So it's like the end of the story. They sing their meditation chant. I am you, or you are I, Mama Mea Mantra. And they dimmed, I've got pictures of this, but I wasn't there myself. They dimmed all the lights, except for one of the girl singers, Judy Smith, was on a swing over the stage, swinging to and fro. And they spotlight her, and the band takes the rhythm from the rhythm of her swinging while they do the meditation chant, and then it fades out. So they were doing a lot of theatre like that with how they did their performance. And then two of them went on, and they, David Allen and Judy Smith went on and joined Here and Now to make Planet Gong. And the synthesizer player went off and joined, I'm trying to find the album cover for it. It's here somewhere. I think. Oh, no, here we go. Joined Hawkwind. And I wanted to mention that because for all you youngsters who don't ever experience vinyl, you would
especially a threefold album
Holy
with the
crap.
lyrics and the posters and everything.
Yeah, you
Look at that.
get these lovely album covers.
They don't make them like that anymore. And show the back. There's even like lyrics and credits, and this is the stuff we really love growing up before social media in the 80s and the 70s, that late 60s that have all this great stuff, extra stuff that's not really too. I mean, there's still vinyl around, but I don't think there's any foldouts like that or any epic stuff. But I want to mention that I'm a big fan. I think England is one of the best places that produces the greatest bands. And for me, it's England, Seattle, LA, San Francisco, and New York. Even though I love music all around the world, but those five places, think about this. My favorite synth pop band is Duran Duran. My favorite heavy metal band, rock and roll band from England is Deep Purple. And then they have Zeppelin, Human League, Culture Club, Wham, George Michael, Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd. There's Sabbath. There's so many great, Jamiroquai, the funk disco gods from England. I mean, all this great stuff. A lot of great. Are you a synth pop 80s person? Did you dig that kind of scene? Some of it. What were some of the groups you liked from that?
Well, I like Joy Division, which morphed into New Order. And although Joy Division is not really synth pop, New Order is. And I bought their albums here as well because Joy Division. It
I
has.
see you have a Pink Floyd down there, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell a story of that in a moment. This is Joy Division's album, Unknown Pleasures. I'm just going to put it up close so you can see the cover.
Joy Division.
Unknown Pleasures, brilliant album. I saw them at Deeply Vale Festival, which was one of those free festivals. And it was like, I was on an acid trip with a couple of friends, and we were like wandering around up in the hills. And we were absolutely awful because what we did was we were going through a farmer's field and we did significant crop damage. If you're watching this farmer from round Deeply Vale all those years ago, I totally apologise. But anyway, after wandering around in the special texture, as we called it while we were tripped out, I went back down to the main festival area, which was kind of in a valley, and there was this band playing that's absolutely fantastic. So I stayed there and I listened to them, and I was too out of it to remember to ask what the band was called. So after that, there was about a year where I had this music in my head, and I didn't know how to find it again. And then one day I heard it playing from the apartment downstairs, from the one where I was living. So I dashed downstairs and rapped on their door and demanded to know what it was. And that was how I found out that I had seen Joy Division. Anyway, this on the cover, it's worth mentioning. There's been something called SETI going on for a long time, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And they have a lot of radio telescopes pointed at the universe. Back in the 1960s, very early days of SETI, they received a signal that has since become known as the WOW signal because it was so difficult to figure out.
No, not only bands from England. So what do you got what do you got next to show us here? That's a great. Did that come with it, or is that just a plastic?
This is an original from the first Glastonbury Fair. After they made it, they put together an album. And this is I'm showing it in part because this is another connected piece.
Oh,
But that was
wow.
the stage of the original Glastonbury.
I've never seen an LP fold out like this. This is something.
There's the scene with the hippie that I thought was kind of sexy on the inside.
Now I know why Eleanor wanted to wait to do this interview to bring the vinyl to show you all and us, and so now I see why it was worth the wait to get Eleanor here to show her great vinyl collection of rarities and great hidden gems.
So I wanted to mention, I know you've mentioned The Cure before. 3 imaginary boys. That's what the 3 imaginary boys look like. One's a lampshade, one's a fridge, and one's a vacuum cleaner.
Another highly recommended. Robert Smith, and they're still going now.
Yeah.
Not sure if it's all the original members or just Robert. Are you familiar?
I don't know.
Okay.
Actually. I didn't even know that.
Well, they're still on tour now, Kitty, so see them before they die.
But that's a classic 3 imaginary boys. And Tom Waits, Swordfish Trombone.
Tom Waits. Anybody who doesn't like him is just a mediocre. Well, you know, a lot of people don't get Tom Waits. He's very eclectic, and a lot of people are really simple and predictable when it comes to listening to music. What do you like? Oh, whatever the radio's playing, whatever everybody else likes. That's not a Tom Waits fan. That's, they don't get it. So anyway, yeah, great. Tom Waits it's one of my favorites that you put up there so far.
Yeah, I doubt if anyone will recognize that. But you've probably heard of the Sex Pistols. Their manager was Malcolm McLaren, who was the creative genius behind the Sex Pistols. And this is one of his other albums. It's the one with Buffalo Girls Go Round the Outside, that song. So I thought I'd mention those. And I do like some American music as well.
Grace Slick.
He likes female vocalists.
Yeah, big female vocal guy. And I actually met Grace Slick, and
you did?
She was doing an art gallery show in downtown San Francisco, and taking pictures and meeting people. But I never saw her in concert. I saw them after she left. But
right,
she's an amazing singer. And
me too.
Jefferson, Airplane, and then Starship. So
yeah,
what a history.
Yeah, And I had the same experience as you had. I had a ticket for Nebworth, and I went. And there were two bands there that I really wanted to see, Jefferson Starship and Genesis. And it was the tour Grace Slick dropped out.
Oh.
So it was like she dropped out 2 shows before they played Nebworth. So I didn't get to see that. But they were pretty good nonetheless. And I saw Genesis, and it was Genesis.
Was this with Peter Gabriel or Phil Collins?
This is with Peter Gabriel.
Oh, wow,
the
that's even
full-on theatrical Genesis.
Wow, that's the better
Wow.
one to me.
With
I love you, Phil.
they had they were headlining, and they had their full theatrical show. It was the
Wow.
last tour with Peter Gabriel. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
Did you like Peter's solo stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I saw him at the first ever WOMAD festival when he was doing his solo stuff.
Nice.
And the way that festival worked was that was a pay-for festival. You paid to buy your festival ticket. And then there were certain shows within the festival. You had to pay a second time to see that particular show. And Peter Gabriel was one of those. And I didn't have the money to get into it. So I was just standing outside the entrance listening to the music. And I listened to it for about 4 or 5 minutes. And then the bouncer asked me if I was a fan of Peter Gabriel. So I said, yeah. And he said, oh, look, just go in.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
We love it when we're gifted free entries. It just
Yeah.
happened to me over the weekend with the Bay Area metal band, the Ruffians, and the guy at the door was like, well, yeah, 2 bands have already played. Just go in and have a good time.
Yeah.
So I was like, awesome. That's great. So
that-
wow, you're looking at Pink Floyd over here, and you just got some more English legendary greats.
The reason I bought this one out is I got this when I was living in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam. And they have a funny rule, at least they had back then, for all I know it's still true now, that there was one day a year you were allowed to sell anything you wanted to sell on the street. So people were selling all sorts of ridiculous things. Like there was some children, what they got is they got a pipe, like a 4-foot section of pipe, a salami and a sharp knife. And they would drop the salami in at the top of the pipe, and you would pay them a guilder, and then you got a chance with the knife to slice the salami in half as it came out the bottom of the pipe. And if you sliced it in half, you got to keep the salami. But one of the other things being sold on that day was bootleg albums, because you were allowed to sell anything. So I brought this out because it's a bootleg album that I brought there. And because Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin, for me, growing up in England, were kind of the meat and potatoes of the show.
Yeah. A lot of people say that, big Zeppelin and Pink Floyd fans out there.
So I want to introduce some other things. Kip Hanrahan. I can't imagine any of you have come across this guy before. New York poet. He does it to music. So you get, well, in fact, I don't think he's performing at all. I think he's all musicians performing. You get drums, you get bass, and you get singing, and occasionally you get the saxophone, and you get percussion, conga lines, and stuff like that. Really, really superbly done. Really, really high quality sound recording, high quality musicianship. They're from New York, so they're an American band that I like. And I thought I'd mention Spirit as well. This album, Future Games, it makes you think a bit of you, because there are so many little clips from movies in here. There's a load of clips from a Star Trek episode that sort of runs through the entire album.
Nice. That's film dialogue and movie
Yeah.
examples. I like that.
Yeah.
Future what?
Future Games.
Games. Wow. Spirit.
I don't
What
know,
year did that come out?
Probably in the late 1970s would be my guess.
Yes. I'll have to look that up on YouTube. Future Games, Spirit.
You may have trouble
Curious to
finding
hear about
it.
the. Really? Okay.
Some of these are kind of rare.
Miles Davis and.
Yeah, wonderful. I saw him back in the early 1980s here, actually, in a Concord music place that is outdoors. It has a stage, and then you sit on the sort of grass slope and watch the music. That was really good. And I saw him again in the Netherlands, and he was
Pick It
kind of
Up?
old.
He's saying pick it up because you can't see it, but that's the Miles Davis.
And then
Yeah.
shout out to Mothers of Invention and Frank Zappa.
Frank Zappa, big fan,
And
the Doors, Jim Morrison. Yep, all the greats are gone.
Brian Eno, My Life in the Bush of
Wow.
Ghosts. That's
He produced one of my favorite bands of all time, the Talking Heads. Brian Eno. It's like I don't
Yeah.
say many people are musical geniuses, but Brian would be considered that,
Did
as
you-
well as Zappa.
What was it called? Roxy Music. Did you come across
Yeah.
that? That was his first
Yeah,
band.
I'm familiar. Yeah, Brian Eno is. Check him out. Anything he touches is solid gold. And there it is, Peter Frampton. That's one of most people's favorite live albums. Frampton Comes Alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's in good condition vinyl. I picked it up for $1 off the street.
Damn.
Wow.
What a score.
Yes. So that runs through, I think, the vinyl that I was going to talk about. And then I did have a tablet somewhere with a list of movies on it. Can you
At
see-
your feet.
Ah! Right.
There's not a few more gems you want to break out of there? Or you,
Well, let's
she's
have
got a
quick-
ton of the vinyl. She went through most of it, and
Yeah, let's have a quick look, see what's here that I need them to do.
I saw Jaw Wobble. He's worth mentioning.
Yeah,
If you've never heard of Jaw. Amazing talent.
yeah.
Jaw Wobble.
You know, the Bedroom album. He's part of Public Image Limited originally, and they were refused to say anything about who they were or what they were like, and that's why they called their band Public Image Limited. And then he split off to do his own thing. And he played with people like Holgard Shuke and various other people who were in Cannes.
I remember Bill Laswell from New York
Yeah,
collaborating with Jaw Wobble. And
Yeah, I think
Bill
I have
Laswell is,
that
if you don't
album.
know, look him up. One of the most eclectic guys up there putting out amazing experimental music. And I even think he has his own label. He's worked with Bootsy Collins and a bunch of people. Yeah, Bill Laswell. Can't go wrong. You know, he won't be inducted into the Rock and Rap Hall of Shame. But, you know, most people like him won't be. What do you got there?
That's another Jaw
Oh,
Wobble
Jaw
one
Wobble.
with Holgard Shuke on it and The Edge from U2. So it has, this is really one track on it that's any good, is Snake Charmer. And I like introducing it to people because I don't describe what the music is. And I say, oh, this is a duet for a French horn and Hawaiian slide guitar. And that's, it is a duet for French horn and Hawaiian slide guitar, but not what you think of when you hear that. And it has, we were mentioning the movie Casablanca earlier. It has lyrics partly inspired by Casablanca on that
That's a
track.
good segue, and we can get into Eleanor's love of movies. Or did you have something else in mind?
No, that's because we've gone on for a while. I'll just do a little bit about movies. This is a cassette that's everywhere over the world. There's no albums of hers. There's no recordings you can buy. So what happens is some bootleggers start trailing Cutie Pie Boy, and their plan is to steal his tapes after he's done the dirty work for them, put them out as an album, and make a load of money. And during the day, when he's doing his job riding around on the mobilette delivering things, he listens to his recordings of the opera singer. So he has a packet of cassettes and a pannier on his mobilette, and he'll put one in and listen to it while he drives around doing his job. So you've got that. That's one thread that's going on. Next one. The boss of organised crime in Paris has had a bust-up with his mistress of many years. They're furious with each other. They're at each other's throats. And she's out to get him busted by the police because he's like the big mafia guy. So what she's done is on one of those little cassettes, like the one I just showed you, she's recorded a load of evidence that the cops can go for that will get her ex-lover jailed for life. And she knows that she's got to get this to the cops quickly because she knows he's going to send assassins after her to kill her and make sure that doesn't happen. And because she was his girlfriend for so long, she even knows the assassins that are going to come after her. So she's running through the streets to make her meeting with the cops and hand over the evidence that will do in her former lover. And she looks behind her and she sees the assassins. And they're too close. She's not going to make the meeting. She realizes she's going to die in the next few minutes. And she looks around and there's a mobilette parked by the side of the road with a pannier on the side of it full of cassettes. And she drops hers into the cassettes on the mobilette and then runs on. The assassins catch her, they kill her, they don't find the tape, they remember seeing the mobilette with the tapes and figure out where it went. But the mobilette isn't there for them to find anymore. The guy's moved on. So now he's got the mafia after him as well. And that's about the first 5 minutes of the movie. Now I'm going to just roughly cover, without spoiling it, what happens in the rest of the show. Because he has a stroke of great good fortune. Cutie Pie Boy meets Sweetie Girl. And this is a savior for him. Because Sweetie Girl has a sugar daddy who is a man of enormous resources. And he watches the waves. And what happens is that Sugar Daddy steps in and he makes everything come right. He gets the people trading Cutie Pie Boy off his back, makes sure the mafia guy gets his comeuppance. He even manages to arrange for Cutie Pie Boy to meet the opera singer, which of course produces some furor because he's been recording her and she has this thing, music has to be live, and he's still on there. Anyway, the Sugar Daddy character is the coolest role I've ever seen written in any movie script. And I'm mentioning this because if you watch the movie, towards the end of the movie, there's a critical scene where it looks like Cutie Pie Boy is going to get killed by mafia. There seems to be no way out. And then Sugar Daddy turns up and fixes it by moving a piece of furniture. And you never see Sugar Daddy in this scene. You do get to see the relevant furniture move, but you don't see him himself. But the reason I'm telling you this is because if you watch the movie, after that scene, there's a scene looking at a staircase. And that doesn't make any sense until you watch the shadows on the wall. And you can see Sugar Daddy's shadow on the wall as he walks away from the scene. And the whole movie, it has an immaculate sense of symbolic order. Like the place where Cutie Pie Boy and Sweetie Girl finally get to have sex, that place actually physically looks like an erect penis. The good guys drive white cars, the bad guys drive black cars, and so on. It's lovely in that sense.
Another, the title again, Diva, rare foreign flick. So maybe you can even find the trailer on YouTube.
I think you can find the trailer on
Diva.
YouTube. You can find the whole movie on YouTube, actually.
There it is.
It's around. And so,
look for it.
with that go some other movies that I think I want to mention.
Here's Eleanor's list of great films from the past decades.
So Performance and Insignificance. They're both directed by Nicholas Roeg. Performance has the curse on it of having Mick Jagger in it. Because it's an old movie, the way they market it, you would think it's about Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones. But it's not. It's a storytelling movie. Most of the movies I like are storytelling. Insignificance is another movie by the same guy. I'll say this about Performance. It's another clever movie. There's two timelines in it. There's the normal timeline you expect from a movie, where it covers several days compressed into the 2 hours of the movie. And then they do a mushroom trip in the movie. And there's the timeline of the mushroom trip They do the mushrooms and then they get high about half an hour later in half an hour of movie time. So that one's playing out in real time. I don't want to say too
You
much.
know, David Bowie was an actor in many movies, but Mick Jagger, I can only think of Free Jack with Anthony Hopkins. What else did Mick?
I know he was under consideration for Werner Herzog's movie Fitzcarraldo,
Right.
but he didn't get the part.
Because Keith Richards ended up in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
You're kidding?
No, with Johnny Depp. I forget which one, but they brought Keith Richards because Johnny Depp had said that Keith Richards inspired him to be that Jack Sparrow character.
Wow.
Yeah. So they made him his dad. So Jack Sparrow's dad is played by Keith Richards.
Right.
Yeah, interesting.
And talking about Johnny Depp and being inspired, also on my list of movies is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
There you go, Benicio del Toro, Johnny Depp.
And the story was originally written by Hunter Thompson, and Hunter Thompson has a big part in the movie.
Oh, nice.
Johnny Depp is playing Hunter Thompson in the movie and meets the real Hunter Thompson. It's at the time of the motorcycle races, and they're covered in the smoke and dust, and they have a little chat.
What was that other movie that was about Hunter S. Thompson with Peter Boyle, right?
Where the Buffalo Road.
Yeah, and who was the other actor in there?
I'm no good on remembering.
Bill Murray.
names.
Yeah,
Oh.
Bill Murray and Peter Boyle were played those same guys, I think. Yeah.
Hunter Thompson and his attorney. Yeah.
Interesting. What else is on the list?
Well, I wanted to mention some telly shows here. The Prisoner and
Love
UFO.
television.
And I am a fan of Kubrick's movies like everybody else. So there's a funny connection here between The Prisoner and UFO in 2001, which they all filmed at the same place at the same time.
Really?
So,
Interesting.
UFO, Prisoner, and 2001. So there's a part of The Prisoner, they didn't actually do this scene, but it was under consideration, where the central character, who's called Number 6, is on a raft. He's sort of escaped, and he's navigating by an old-fashioned navigational device called the cross staff, which you use the stars to navigate with. So they were going to need shots of the stars to do this. And they're sitting there, scratching their heads. They've got no money. It's the Andersons who are responsible for this stuff. And next door to them is Kubrick with $1 billion filming 2001. And they think, there's got to be pictures of a starry sky on that set next door that we could sneak in and grab one and use it for our cross-staff scene. And they didn't actually put the scene in, so I don't know if they did that anyway. So the Prisoner, exceedingly interesting content. Patrick McGowan, who plays the central role, Number 6, and who I think instigated and led the whole thing. I think he had the idea that he wanted to explain as clearly as possible to the viewers the European occult tradition, the European tradition of magic, from the Knights Templar, the Rosicrucians, the Golden Dawn, the Ordo Templi Orientis, that tradition of magic. So in that show, for instance, there's an episode where almost all the action takes place on the astral plane, and then there's a dramatic climax, and it shifts back to the physical plane, and you see how the events on the physical plane play out what was choreographed for them before on the astral plane. Now, I'll also say this about this show: you have to sell a show to a tech company to get it made, right? They sold it as a spy story, and most of the episodes do actually work as part of a spy story about a spy who's been taken to this weird interrogation place where they're trying to find out, it's never quite clear what, from him. But, they were a creative bunch of people, and by about episode 13, I think it was, they got a bit bored with the spy story, so they made that one as a Western, and then went back to doing spy stories afterwards.
Where were these movies filmed? Same
Mo-
location.
Most of them were filmed at a location called Portmeirion, Wales, which is an architect went crazy when he had a lot of money at the end of his life and architected up his dreams. So it's a kind of surreal little village by the coast.
Oh wow.
Is that like a comparison to like the Winchester House here in California? As far as being crazy, but maybe the motivation is different.
And a different kind of craziness. The
Mm.
Winchester House is more like stage magic craziness,
Okay.
whereas the Portmeirion is more like the surrealists kind of craziness.
Kind of like Escher.
What's his name? The clock dripping guy, Salvador Dali.
Salvador Dali. Okay.
That sort of style.
Ooh.
One of probably my all-time favorite artists.
Oh,
While we're on the subject of Kubrick, I just want to mention this: is that Stanley Kubrick's one of my favorite directors of all time. Top three, most likely, for like 200 apiece. So Malcolm McDowell being a bigger star than I think any of those people, and you just buy $30 and up, and the picture's free. So he won't be around much longer, but he's one of the greats, I think, and so many. That time traveling movie. Check that one out. It's slipped my mind, but that was fun. Did you have a good experience at that convention?
yeah, I enjoyed that.
I think the mom from ET was there, and everybody.
Do photography of the cosplay people.
Yeah, lots of people in costume, lots of TV, movie celebrities, and a lot of props from the actual movie. So if you ever get a chance, there's Days of the Dead, there's Monster Palooza. In San Jose, there's GalaxyCon. In San Francisco, Fan Expo. There's Mad Monster Party in Arizona. So go check out a convention and meet your favorite movie stars and TV stars. So what else is on the list? We got any honorable mentions?
Going for a while, so I think we'll finish up. I will mention The Great Gatsby and The Lion in Winter, a couple of classic Hollywood movies.
Casablanca's on there too.
Yeah, Casablanca, The Night Porter,
All must-see movies.
Taxi Driver.
Yes, one of my favorites. Scorsese's one of my all-time favorite directors.
Yeah, and then I'm going to mention The Serpent's Egg, directed by Ingmar Bergman. And it's a movie about the goings-on in Germany in the run-up to World War II as the Nazis are taking over. And I saw it in this little art house cinema that seats perhaps 100 people, and it has a bar in the cinema building as well. And on the way in, everybody was talking normally and chatting. We were all going to go and see a movie. Then we sit down. Obviously, everyone's quiet while the movie shows. And it had such a huge impact that at the end of the movie, everybody sort of filed out of that cinema in single file, in dead silence, and went over to the bar and just said nothing besides just ordering drinks and sitting there and looking at each other. So I'm going to end my section of the podcast with The Serpent's Egg. If you want to see a movie